They did not wake up at all in the middle of the night, and the next day Bridget was sleeping hard. Their dad did not come into the room and wake them he was sleeping in. After a long period of everyone sleeping, Kaylee woke up. She thought, I wonder if Agus left yet. Wait, is it morning? Kaylee whispered, oh, Bridget. She waited for a reply. Then she whispered, Marana. Neither sister woke up. Kaylee laid there for a while. Then she thought, I need to see if she is still here. Kaylee got up and listened against the door. For a little bit she heard nothing, and she stayed there for a few minutes. And she heard her dad snoring. She thought she has to be gone. Kaylee thought, I wonder what time it is. She grabbed Bridget's phone. She looked at the time. It was 1 p.m. She thought Dad would kill us if he knew we were still asleep at this time. She stared at her sister's phone for a while, then she put it back. Kaylee returned to the door and listened for a little bit, then she laid back down in bed. After a little bit, everyone else woke up. After waking up again, Kaylee said girls. Bridget was worried about the way she said girls, therefore she said what is it with worry. Kelly said that it is past 1 and Dad is still asleep. If he comes in here, he will kill us. Bridget rolled her eyes. Bridget thought, oh, she is right. Then she said, is she gone? Marana said, surely she is. Bridget carefully got out of bed and opened the door. Then she snuck to her dad's room. She carefully opened the door. He was in bed alone. Seeing this made her happy. She quickly and quietly went back to her room. She said, yep, he is in bed alone. I think she went home. The girls were relieved she was gone. They played for a little bit. After their dad had gone, they all took showers and then got dressed. Then Bridget made breakfast. Then the girls ate. The girls played for a while. They were having fun, so they forgot about his girlfriend for a while. The rest of the day went pretty normal. Soon night fell. The girls went to bed. As the night went on, Bridget tried to put all the things that bothered her out of her head. However, she could not stop thinking about her dad's double standards and her mother's death. The next day, their dad went to work. Bridget and her sisters slept through their dad exiting the house. After a while, the girls got up and started their day. Everything was going smoothly for the girls. Then Marana said, oh, can we go outside? Bridget knew her parents did not want them outside while they were not home. Bridget hated to say no, however. She did what was right. She said, "Who? No, I am sorry." Marana did not like her answer, however. She said, "Oh, okay." Bridget said, "Let's go to our room and play." The other two girls followed her to their room. Once they were in their room, they began to play. Several days passed, and then the sisters learned something new. Marcus came home one night and informed the girls, I am getting married." They all were disappointed. Bridget thought, well, there goes our freedom to run around brawlers. All the girls were pissed, however, they could not do anything about it. After dinner, the sisters went to their room. Marana was mad as she said, "We have to do something. I don't want some stranger living with us. We need to talk Dad out of marrying her." Kelly said with worry, "Bridget, what should we do?" Bridget listened up against the door for a second to see if their dad was still outside. She did not hear anyone walking around, so she turned to them and said, "We can't do anything. He will kill us if we try to stop him." Kelly said, "But this isn't fair. What about what we want?" Marana looked as if she had seen a ghost. Bridget noticed her sister's unfortunate state. Therefore, she said, "What is it, Marana?" Marana struggled to say, "What if she tries to send us to poo-poo-poo public school?" Bridget physically could not get any paler thanks to her white as snow skin, and however her red as the rose lips lost some colour. Haley and Bridget now both felt ill too. Bridget was under too much anxiety. She had to lay on the floor. She laid there and tried to regain her strength. Unfortunately, she could not. She just laid there in pain. Bridget stared at the ceiling. She thought, "I wish things were different. I wish our real mum was here." Soon tears streamed down Bridget's face. Bridget began to think about many bad things that had happened to her. Bridget and her sisters cried for a while. After a while, their girls gained their strength and got ready for bed, and they went to bed. Bridget lay in bed. She thought, "This is going to suck. Hopefully she does not get the idea to send us to public school. I will kill that bitch. We need a plan on how to deal with this new woman." She is not going to tell us what to do. I don't give a shit what anyone says. After a while of angry thoughts, Bridget said her prayer and went to sleep. The next day, Bridget got her sisters together and tried to come up with ideas of what to say if this woman was going to cause them trouble. Bridget said, "Okay, girls, let's start with this. What would you say if she says you are going to all go to public school?" Kelly said no aggressively. Marana said, "How about you go kill yourself?" Bridget said, "Maybe we need a better answer." Marana said, "What is better than how about you go kill yourself?" Bridget said, "You are not our mother. Don't tell us what to do." Morana said lad bitch at the end. Bridget said no because Dad will kill us if we disrespect her. Kaylee got angry and shouted, "What, Dad disrespects us all the time?" Bridget agreed but said, "I know, but you know how parents are." Morana rolled her eyes hard. Kaylee was obviously pissed too. Bridget wanted to make her sisters happy, however she did not want them to get in trouble. Bridget said, "Okay, my answer was the best. You are not our mother. Don't tell us what to do." Morana rolled her eyes and said, "I like my answer better." Bridget said, "We don't have a lot of time. How about you girls need to go to the movies and do normal stuff?" Kelly meanly said no while Morana thought for a few seconds. Then she said, "Get the fuck out of this family, bitch." Bridget said, "Well, how about we say we have no interest in those activities?" Morana said, "Do we have to be nice to her?" Bridget said, "We better, or she may ruin our lives." They eventually agreed with Bridget. Days passed, and the girls practiced their answers to their future stepmom's possible comments and questions. Bridget even rehearsed them in her head while lying in bed. Bridget often fell asleep in between her mental rehearsals. A couple of days passed, and the wedding was getting planned and the appointments were getting made. Marcus gave an invitation to each of his daughters. Holding the invitation in their hands made them miss their mother more. One of the days their dad told the girls, "Guess what?" Morana replied with "Aye, sassy, what?" He said, "You're all in the wedding." All the girls were shocked. Bridget tried to be reasonable, so she said, "We don't really know her. We cannot be in the wedding. It would be weird. Why not people she knows instead?" He said, "You don't want to be in my wedding." Bridget said, "Dad, it is not you." Morana could not stand to watch her sister struggle, so she said, "Dad, the bridesmaids know the bride, not the groom. We should not be in the wedding." He said, "Don't worry, girls. Everything will be okay. Tomorrow you are all going bridesmaid dress shopping." Morana rolled her eyes and said, "Do we have to?" Marcus was shocked at how they were acting. He said, "Why, I'm honestly shocked at all of you. What girl does not want to go bridesmaid dress shopping? You are all going to get married and go bridesmaid dress shopping in the future." Morana wanted to stick it to him. Bridget stopped her by saying in a weak tone, "Yeah," he said, "there's what I thought. The girls went to their room." After he was out of earshot, Morana said, "Why did you not tell him the truth that we are never getting married?" Bridget looked at Morana as she said he was in a bad mood, and I did not want to make it worse. "I wish we did not have to go bridesmaid dress shopping." Kelly said, "Well, I guess we will have to go and get it over with." Bridget said, "Well, I guess we better clean everything up and get ready for bed." Soon they were ready for bed. Bridget lay there and thought, "Man, I wish we did not have to do this." She said her prayers and then went to sleep. The next day, their dad dropped them off so they could go bridesmaid dress shopping. Bridget thought, we have to go in because Dad can still see us. Maybe we should hide? No, she will tell Dad if we do that. The sisters walked inside the store. They all walked up to their future stepmom. She saw them but said nothing to them. A woman approached them and said, "Hello, so what are we looking for today?" Abbas said, "Black dresses." The woman said, "Come with me." The women all followed her to the dress rack. Agus whipped through the dresses quickly. The homeschoolers were not familiar with her, so they all stood there and did not help her look for dresses. The other women with her were looking around at dresses. After a few moments, she noticed the homeschoolers standing around, staring, gawking off. This irritated her. She said, "Could you all fucking help find black dresses now?" All the sisters were freaked out by her outburst. They all ran from her. They went to a different part of the store, and they turned to face her to see if she was watching them. Bridget and Kaylee started looking at dresses. Marana said, "Don't look for dresses." Bridget said, "We have to for 2 reasons. Marana rolled her eyes and said, "What 2 reasons? Bridget sighed. Then she said, "Either she will stick us in something ugly, she will lie to Dad about us, and of course he will listen to a public schooler over us, or combo of both." Marana rolled her eyes and then walked to a rack and started to look aggressively through the dresses. Kaylee said, "Let's blow bunch of time. Therefore, we do not have to be around her for a while." Bridget said, "If we don't bring her something, she will be mad that we did not help her during her appointment." After a few minutes, all the homeschoolers grabbed a dress with black on it to show her. They walked up to the area where they last saw her. She was not there. Kaylee said, "Mum, now what, Bridget?" Bridget said, "Mum." Then an idea came to Bridget. She said, "Well, let's go to the trying-on room. That is where they probably are." They walked around and looked for the trying-on rooms. They had never been in this store, so they did not know where to go to find the changing rooms. After a few minutes, they walked by the trying-on area. They saw Agast and the other women who were here with her. The homeschoolers stood there and watched as they held their dresses by the hangers. Agast said, "Okay, we will take these 2. Bridget thought, "Oh good, this experience is over now." The 3 women went to go take the dresses off, and the saleswoman said, "Let's get measurements." Agast spotted the girls. She said, "Put those ugly dresses away and get over here and get measured. We don't have all fucking day." Soon measurements were taken. Then the sisters went to the door to wait for their dad to come and get them. After they were done checking out, the other women went out to the parking lot and drove off. They all drove off before Bridget could exit the store. The homeschooler stood there for a little bit. Then Bridget thought, "Wait, when is Dad coming here? Now we are stuck here." And Bridget walked outside to see if the car was there. She ran back into the store. She looked at her sisters and said, "Well, I guess we are stuck here." And Bridget began to get emotional. Then Marana said, "Let's try on dresses. I mean, when is our homeschooled asses ever coming back here again?" Bridget got happier, and she said, "Okay." The sisters tried on dresses for a while until their dad showed up to get them. Kelly said, "Are we going to tell Dad what had happened?" Bridget sighed and said, "No, he will not listen to us anyway." Once they were in the car, they did not tell him how she treated them because he would not listen to them anyway. Soon the wedding day came. However, the honeymoon was the last time the girls were going to be alone at home for a while, therefore Bridget was wise with their time. Bridget said, "What if she takes Mum's stuff?" Kelly said, "We need to take what is rightfully ours and hide it." Bridget was worried as she said, "We need to be careful that we do not take too much. Dad probably already showed her Mum's jewellery and other expensive things." Morana said, "But this all belongs to us." Bridget hated to disappoint, but she said, "We have to be smart. We probably should have done this earlier. However, Dad sprung this on us very late. If we take everything, she is going to know it was us." Kaylee and Morana said were okay with annoyance, and Bridget was happy they understood and listened to her as they looked through their mother's things. Kaylee began to panic. Morana said, "What is it?" She said, "The necklace I gave Mum that I called all the colours is gone." Bridget and Morana wanted to give Kaylee what she wanted, therefore they looked hard for it. However, they could not find it. This made Kaylee emotional. However, they ran out of time because their dad came home and they each took some things they loved and hid them in their room. Soon the day of their stepmother moved into the house came. After a little bit of their dad and their stepmother moving things into the house, their dad noticed his daughters were not helping them. This pissed him off. He aggressively stomped up to his daughter's room. He threw the door open and said, "Can you all see we need fucking help?" All the girls were instantly in a terrible mood. They could not even look at their dad. He continued, "Get your fucking asses out there and move her stuff in here now." The girls really hated their stepmother now. However, their hate for their dad grew more than ever before. Bridget led the way since she was the oldest. She grabbed a box and began to carry it inside. Bridget thought, "Why does this have to happen? I don't know if I am going to be able to make it." Once Bridget was inside the house, she thought, "Wait, where am I taking this stuff to? Dad never said, maybe I should ask his bitch." She walked up to her new stepmom and said, "Where do you want all of this?" She rolled her eyes and said, "Set it on the bed." Where everything else is at, stupid. And Bridget's cheeks burnt with embarrassment under her makeup. Bridget thought living with her is going to be a nightmare. Bridget began to exit the room. However, she heard some ceramic shatter sound. This caused Bridget to turn back. Then Aga screamed, "Why did you break that?" Bridget was very angry. She screamed, "I did not." Marcus grabbed Bridget's arm and threw her to the ground. Bridget was shocked at her dad's decision to assume a stupid bitch could be correct. He stood next to his stupid wife and screamed, "Bridget, why do you always have to be a bitch?" Bridget was shocked. She thought, "If I tell him I did not do that, he will not believe me. He hates me." Bridget began to cry before she got up and ran away. Despite what happened, Bridget continued to carry her stuff in. Soon their stepmother's stuff was moved into the house. Bridget and her sisters were very pissed about all that went down today. Bridget lay on her bedroom floor and cried. As she lay there and cried, she told her sisters what had happened. Marana said, "Did you notice the bitch did nothing to help? She carried nothing in. What a cunt." Kelly said, "Oh, can we run away?" Bridget came to her feet and said, "I don't know, I just don't know." Marana said, "This is not going to work out. We need a plan," and Bridget was too pissed to think straight. Therefore, she said, "I will come up with something tomorrow." Soon she and her sisters turned to bed early. The sisters cried all night. Bridget barely slept. She kept waking up a few times. Bridget could not believe this was real. She thought, "I wish this was not real. No one should have a stepmom." After a while, Bridget felt very anxious. She checked on her sisters to see if anything had happened to them in the middle of the night. However, they were okay. She laid back in bed and thought about how much she hated her life. After a while, Bridget fell back asleep. Bridget was still paranoid. Every little sound woke her up. She kept thinking, "We are in danger in our own home." This is not right. Our home is where the heart is. At least Mum used to say that all the time. Thinking about her mum saying that made her very emotional. She cried until morning came.